From an indigenous child from La Guajira, who today is the best winger in the world, against the 41-year-old man for whom this World Cup is literally the last chance of his life. From the player who arrived in Paris invisible among Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, and who today holds Xavi Hernandez's historic record in Champions League finals, against the 33-year-old Colombian magician who arrives at his first World Cup with the most impossible goal anyone had ever scored before in the history of this competition. On June 27th in Miami, Colombia and Portugal are playing for everything. Colombia arrives with confidence, several points in the bag, and the best starting 11 it has had in decades. Portugal arrives with too many doubts and shadows, a heated internal atmosphere after drawing against Congo in one of the most surprising results of this group stage, with Cristiano visibly frustrated and a team that needs to win or go home early.
We are going to analyze duel by duel who arrives hungrier, who carries more pressure, and what each player's background says about what could happen that day on the pitch. Because when you finish this video, you will understand why this match is much more than Colombia against Portugal. A match that will paralyze a continent and the football world, and you can experience it from now with the most impactful duels between the 6 best players from each national team. Right now, Davinson Sánchez versus Rúben Dias. We start with the defense, because before James or Cristiano touch the ball, someone has to win the battle on the ground. Davinson Sánchez, center-back for Galatasaray, 29 years old, born in Coloto, Cauca. There are players who reach elite football because someone opened a door for them. Davinson arrived because he knocked on that door until it opened. He was born in one of the humblest municipalities in Colombian Cauca.
At 10 years old, he took 2 buses to get to training sessions with Atlético Nacional. When his family could not pay for both fares, he made the journey alone at just 10 years old. In a country where the road can sometimes be more dangerous than the match itself. At 16, Barcelona offered him a contract for their reserve team. He rejected it. He did not want Barcelona B, he wanted the first team. He went to Nacional, won the 2016 Copa Libertadores, and Ajax signed him. In the Eredivisie, he was chosen as the best player of the championship. Tottenham paid £42 million for him, the most expensive signing in the club's history at that moment. He played in the 2019 Champions League final. Now he carries Colombia's badge on his chest. On the other side stands Rúben Dias, Manchester City, 29 years old, born in Amadora, Lisbon. Diaz's numbers with City are among the most eloquent defensive numbers produced in the last decade. Without him, City concedes 1.2 goals per Premier League match. With him, 0.8. That difference of 0.4 of a goal per match is equivalent to 4 league titles. He won the Premier League Player of the Season award in 2020-21, the only defender to win that award in 15 years. 25 titles in his career. A player who does not only stop attacks, he organizes them, directs them, and anticipates them. 2 center-backs who reach the highest level through completely different paths. One from the poverty of Cauca, with buses and the rejection of Barcelona. The other from Benfica's academy and Guardiola's system. Both have the same objective on June 27th, that the other team does not score. Who wins that duel? Because that duel could decide the entire match. Ríos versus João Neves. From the clash between 2 defenders, we move to the clash between the 2 most promising young players from their national teams. And this duel carries the most improbable paradox of the match. Ríos, Benfica midfielder, 26 years old, born in Begachi, Antioquia. Begachi, a municipality of fewer than 12,000 people in northeastern Antioquia. Ríos grew up there playing futsal, not 11-a-side football. Futsal. A scout saw him at the South American Under-20 Futsal Championship in 2018 and got him a trial at Flamengo. Ríos had never played 11-a-side football professionally. He adapted in weeks. He debuted for Flamengo's first team in the Campeonato Carioca at 20 years old. He went through Mazatlán in Mexico, Guarani, and Palmeiras, where he won the Brasileirão in 2023. Benfica signed him in July 2025, in the most expensive deal in the Portuguese club's history. Contract until 2030, managed by José Mourinho. On the opposite side, João Neves, PSG, 20 years old, born in Almada, Portugal. PSG paid €70 million for him in the summer of 2024, when he was 19 years old.
In his first season, he won the Champions League. In his second, he won it again. 2 Champions Leagues in 2 years. At 20 years old, football was already his mother tongue. At 18, he had already debuted for Portugal's senior national team. Today, he is the piece Luis Enrique places in the heart of midfield so that nothing breaks. Here is the paradox no one can ignore. Ríos came to football through futsal and now plays for Benfica in Lisbon, the club from the city where Neves was formed. And Neves is the figure of PSG in Paris, the club where Ríos is trying to make his way in Europe. 2 crossed generations, 2 inverted stories, and both will face each other in Miami. Juan Fernando Quintero versus Vitinha. And here we reach the duel with the most brutal market value difference in the entire match, but narratively, it may be the most interesting of all 6. Vitinha, PSG, 26 years old, born in Vila das Aves, Portugal. When Vitinha arrived at PSG in 2022, the dressing room had Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Nobody knew who Vitinha was. He did not attract attention. He did not create headlines. He was not the name people searched for online. He was worth €45 million and looked like a filler signing in a club that collected stars as if they were trading cards. When all those stars left, Vitinha stayed. And then something extraordinary began to happen. Luis Enrique turned him into the brain of the team. The midfielder who touches the ball more than anyone else. The one who decides when PSG runs and when PSG rests. The one who connects defense with attack. This season, he completed 1,448 successful passes in the Champions League, the absolute historic record, surpassing the 1,299 held by Xavi Hernandez since 2013. In the 2025-26 Champions League final, he completed 141 passes. He equaled Xavi's other record in finals. He was chosen as the man of the match. Luis Enrique described him as the perfect midfielder. PSG has not lost a Champions League final with Vitinha on the pitch. He has played 2. He has won 2. His market value today? €113 million. Juan Fernando Quintero, River Plate, 33 years old, born in Medellin. His market value today? €2.1 million. The difference is more than €100 million. And yet, Nestor Lorenzo called up Quintero because there is something in him that no number can capture. On June 19, 2018, in Saransk, Colombia played Japan in the Russia World Cup. In the 39th minute, Quintero took a free kick from 25 meters out. The ball went low, skimming the ground, passing underneath the wall. The goalkeeper did not even see it. It was the first goal to pass under the wall in the entire history of the World Cup. No one had done it before. No one has done it since. Quintero also scored the winning goal in the 2018 Copa Libertadores final, River Plate against Boca Juniors, at the Santiago Bernabéu in Madrid, a goal that stopped time in Argentina. He won the 2024 Copa Sudamericana with Racing, and now he arrives at his first World Cup at 33 years old. The most unpredictable creator in this Colombia team, Vitinha controls the match through order and precision. Quintero breaks it through chaos and inspiration. The system against the spark, the clock against poetry. Football has things like this. Half of the match is still left to tell, and what is coming is even bigger. James Rodríguez versus Bruno Fernandes. We arrive at the creators, the players who pull the strings for their national teams. And this duel is between the 2 most important attacking midfielders in the match, with 2 stories moving in completely different directions. James Rodríguez, Minnesota United, 34 years old, born in Cúcuta, Brazil, 2014. Colombia against Uruguay in the round of 16. James receives the ball with his back to goal, 25 meters from the net. He controls it with his chest, brings it down, and without letting the ball bounce, strikes a left-footed volley that flies impossibly into the top corner. It was the best goal of the World Cup. He won the Puskás Award, the only player in football history to receive that award for a goal scored in a World Cup. Colombia finished in the quarterfinals. James finished as the tournament's top scorer with 6 goals. More than Messi, more than Neymar, more than everyone. He was 22 years old. Real Madrid bought him for 80 million euros. What came after was more complicated. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Everton, Qatar, Greece, Brazil, Spain, Mexico, Minnesota. 12 years of a career that lost strength at club level, but never faded with the national team. At the 2024 Copa America, he became the best player of the tournament again. He broke Messi's single tournament assist record in Copa America. Colombia reached the final. James has 31 goals for the national team, the second highest scorer in Colombian national team history, 6 World Cup goals. Colombia's all-time top scorer in World Cup history. He arrives at the 2026 World Cup from MLS with only 3 starts in 2026. The question nobody can answer is whether the James who appears for Colombia, that James who seems to belong to another category, will appear in Miami. Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United, 31 years old, born in Maia, Portugal. 2025-26 season, 21 assists in the Premier League, a new all-time record, surpassing the 20 shared by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. In the entire history of the Premier League, with all its great midfielders, nobody had reached 21 assists in a single season. Bruno arrived and broke it. He also won the Player of the Season award and the Playmaker of the Season award. He qualified Manchester United for next season's Champions League almost by himself. 106 goals in 327 matches for United since arriving in January 2020 for 65 million euros from Sporting. The best James was in 2014, when Colombia had never gone further in a World Cup. The best Bruno was in 2026, right before this tournament. One arrives at the peak of his story, the other arrives at the peak of his form. Which of the two controls the midfield in Miami? The Bernardo Silva factor. Before the final duel, there is one Portuguese player who does not have a direct mirror in Colombia, but who could decide the match from an unexpected position. Bernardo Silva, Manchester City, 31 years old, 27 titles in his career, 6 Premier League titles, 1 Champions League. Captain of City in his final season before leaving for Real Madrid as a free agent in July 2026. 109 matches with Portugal, 14 goals. His numbers this season are not spectacular, 2 goals and 4 assists in the league, but his passing accuracy is 92% in the Premier League and 93% in the Champions League. Bernardo is not the one who scores, he is the one who makes everything work. He is the one who keeps the ball when Portugal needs to breathe, the one who appears in the space nobody is watching, the one who connects Bruno with Vitinha, Vitinha with Cristiano. This is his last great tournament with the shirt he knows. He has won everything that can be won with Manchester City. On July 19, 2026, in the World Cup final, in the same stadium where Portugal plays Colombia, Bernardo Silva could be lifting the only trophy missing from his career. Or he could be looking at that stadium from the flight back to Lisbon. Colombia does not have a player who does exactly what Bernardo does, and that is a problem Nestor Lorenzo will have to solve. And now we reach the end. The duel that turns this match into something bigger than a group stage game. Luis Diaz versus Cristiano Ronaldo. Luis Diaz, Bayern Munich, 28 years old, born in Barrancas, La Guajira. Barrancas is a municipality in Upper Colombian Guajira on the border with Venezuela. Dry land, suffocating heat, home to the Wayuu community, who have lived for centuries in that impossible geography. Luis Diaz is Wayuu. He is the first indigenous Colombian to compete in elite professional football at this level. El Pibe Valderrama, the Colombian legend, was the one who discovered him in the youth categories and believed in him when nobody else saw him. In October 2023,
While Diaz was playing for Liverpool, his father was kidnapped by the ELN at a gas station in Barrancas. 11 days. The football world stopped. His Liverpool teammates dedicated every goal to him. Jurgen Klopp said the team had decided to give the match an extra meaning. His father was released. Diaz kept playing, and he scored. This season with Bayern Munich, his first in Germany, 26 goals, 19 assists, 51 matches.
Bundesliga champion, German Cup champion, Super Cup champion, the highest-rated player in the entire 2025-26 Champions League with an average rating of 8.7. He formed the highest-scoring attacking trio in Europe's major leagues alongside Harry Kane and Michael Olise. In Colombia's World Cup debut against Uzbekistan on June 17th, Diaz scored and assisted. Colombia won 3-1. Liverpool bought him from Porto for €45 million in January 2022. In August 2025, Bayern paid Liverpool €75 million for him. Today, that player is worth between 150 and 200 million euros in the market. The boy from Barrancas who reached the biggest stage from Wayuu land. And in front of him stands the man who has spent 20 years being the best in the world after Messi. Cristiano Ronaldo, Al Nassr, 41 years old, born in Funchal, Madeira. His father was a soldier. He returned from Angola as an alcoholic. Cristiano used to pull him out of bars when he was 8 years old. That man died in 2005 at 52 years old, when Cristiano had just arrived at Manchester United. At 12, Cristiano left Madeira alone to go to Lisbon. At 15, doctors detected a heart arrhythmia. He had surgery. He kept going. The most capped player in the history of men's international football, with 226 matches, 5 Ballon d'Or awards, 4 Champions Leagues, league champion in 3 different countries, Euro 2016 champion with Portugal, 2025 Nations League champion, and this season, at 41 years old, Saudi Pro League champion with Al Nassr, with 26 league goals. The oldest player to start a match in World Cup history. But the 2026 World Cup started badly, very badly. Portugal opened with a 1-1 draw against the Democratic Republic of Congo in Houston, a result nobody expected. Cristiano touched the ball only 25 times in the entire match, fewer than his own goalkeeper, Diogo Costa, who touched it 37 times. He completed only 21 passes compared to the goalkeeper's 29. The man who has scored more than 900 goals in his career was invisible. He had 2 clear chances inside the box in the second half and failed to finish both. He has now gone 5 consecutive World Cup matches without scoring, equaling the worst drought of his career in this tournament. He looked erratic, disconnected from the flow of play, and visibly frustrated with how the match was developing. After the game, he posted on social media, "This is not the start we wanted, but this is far from over." He is right, because Cristiano Ronaldo's story is not written in comfortable matches. It is written in matches where everything is against him. In Russia, 2018, nobody gave him a chance against Spain in the opening match, and he scored a hat-trick that is still remembered. In Qatar 2022, he arrived criticized, questioned, with the Manchester United situation in the background, and became the first player to score in 5 different World Cups. Now he arrives in Miami, with Portugal needing to win, with the press of his country on top of him, with 5 World Cup matches without a goal hanging over his head, at 41 years old, and with the certainty that if Portugal does not get out of the group stage in his 6th World Cup, the end of his career will be marked by that image from Houston. The greatest of all, invisible, with fewer touches than his goalkeeper. That is what is at stake for Cristiano Ronaldo on June 27th in Miami. Not glory. Redemption. 6 duels, 12 stories, a match that is already part of football history before it has even started. Who are you choosing, Colombia or Portugal? Which player duel are you most excited to watch? Write it in the comments and vote in the poll appearing on your screen right now. Which one of these 12 players deserves his full story in the next video?